It's a new week in the Crew Motorfest, and this week's theme is called Japanese TOUGE Vol.2, and this is my summit guide. Let's go! All right, real quick before we get into it, if you're looking for any of my pro settings, you can go to militiagamingco.com, click on Motorfest Pro Settings from the top of the page, and you will see everything that I've done. This is the most updated place to find pro settings for me. It's even more updated than some of my videos because I go back and test cars frequently. And this week in particular, I think it would be beneficial if you got to watch my entire run for this summit. So I'm going to be publishing my full runs later in the week, so keep an eye out for that. If you need more instruction, you can take a look at what I was doing in that video. Anyways, let's get into the cars for this week. For the Summit bundle, you're going to be getting the Ultimaniac, which is in the drift category. In fact, all of the cars for the races this week are in the drift category. The Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 6 GSR, and then you're going to need a few additional vehicles, which are the RB14 AGP car, and that's going to be for your slaloms. Make sure you have a score breaker set of parts with skilled and pure as your affixes. And then I recommend the Cento Dieci for the Escape. Again, for those parts, you're looking for Nitro Chemist with pure and extra pump. Now, in addition to those, some drift cars that you'll need, the Unicorn, which is the fastest drift car in the category. You can use it for one of the races in this summit. And then the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 6 GSR Flow Edition, if you like. That one is basically even with the regular GSR, so you can interchange them. If you don't want to buy another car, or if you already have the Flow Edition, then you can use that instead. All right, the keys to this summit are your drifting and your NOS usage, and the modifier called Gymkhana. If you don't know what this is the stunt modifier. Gives you points for various things like drifting, like hitting things with the back of your car while drifting, like speed, driving on the wrong side of the road, all those different things. You're gonna need to maximize your modifier score. It gives you an extra 40,000 points per event. This is huge this week. You cannot do an event without getting that 40,000 points. If you don't get it, you need to retry it. All right, here are the pro settings for the cars that I just mentioned. All right, so I'm going to be really bad at pronouncing all of the names of these events, so I'm not even going to attempt it. This is event number 1 with the loaned Ultimaniac. This one is going to frustrate a lot of you guys. It is not fun to do. This loaner car is slow. It doesn't drift well. It's just a pain in the butt to use. So with that said, I'm going to try to give you as many tips as I possibly can to help you through this race. But I'm telling you guys, this is going to be frustrating. So anyways, let's get into it. So even at the beginning, you're going to want to try to drift a little bit. This first corner, you don't really have to do it, but I would definitely drift the second corner. So I start off like that and then drift it again into there. Now this may look real bad, right? I'm all the way off into the grass, but if you notice, if you back it up a little bit, I'm getting these little poles with the back of the car, which basically, because I'm close to the mountain, I'm getting close drift. And then when you hit these poles, it's not popping, but it's giving me the combo action. Let me see if I can get a screenshot. All right, so it didn't show it, but it popped the combo because I got the action. As soon as I hit this pole, it popped the combo. So basically, when you hit a pole with the back side of your car while in a drift, it gets you, I think it's called a precision hit. So when you do that, you get a lot more points. Notice you get an extra 200 points just for doing 4 actions in a single combo. So you want to repeat that. You basically want to drift this corner as well. Close drift, drifting again. And then this one is just a basic drift. So let's talk about drifting real quick, because I know a lot of you maybe just aren't familiar with the tactics with drifting. And this is going to carry through with basically the entire summit. You want to enter the corner with a little bit more speed than you're comfortable with, but not so much that you go off. Now, when you're in the corner, you want to keep the gas completely pinned, and you're going to be using NOS to point you in the direction that the car is going. So it doesn't like shoot you that way, but it kind of shoves the car a little bit. Does that make sense? Like if you guys are, did I just ask my audience a question on a video? It's ridiculous. Anyways, if you guys are like going toward the outer edge of the corner, you can use NOS to kind of push your car back towards the road and the direction you want to go. So anyways, with this one, it's very difficult to get that full 40,000. You have to be drifting all over the place. And in certain scenarios, you actually need to be getting precision strikes. Look at this one. I got a precision strike on the checkpoint flag. So I was drifting, I hit the checkpoint flag, precision strike. You can get a bunch of those with all of these flags. So if you go off a little bit on these roads, it's okay. See, on this one, I hit a bunch of those in a row. 120 for precision. I can't even say precision. Precision strike. I got seven of them in a row. Man, I'm having a hard time talking. It's late, dude. All right. Anyways, that is basically this entire event. There's not really any tricks to it. You need to drift all of these corners. You need to hit these little poles when you can. And you need to go as fast as you can. It's going to be so hard for me to give you advice, but that's the best advice I can give you. Now, I will say this. If you want to go into your steering settings, let me pause this. If you want to go into your steering settings, your control settings, and you crank up your max lock, that's going to make your car shift really, really fast. You crank up your steering sensitivity and your max lock, your car is going to go from left to right, left to right, left to right really, really quickly because it allows you to have a full lock on your wheels. If that becomes too uncontrollable, drop your max lock down to 50. Keep your steering sensitivity at around 80. That's my suggestion for in terms of controlling these cars. Anyways, let's keep going. I don't think there's any other tricks in this one. You really just need to drift every single corner. You can get a few more points by getting close drift on this tunnel. Just get the nose of the car close to the walls and it should give you the close drift. Now there's one other thing we have to talk about, which is when you get a max drift. Max drift does not mean you're getting more points. That means you've hit the maximum number of points that you can get from drifting in this particular combo. What you need to do is stop doing combos. All these text on the bottom of the screen, stop doing those combos. Do one particular action that is different than a drift and it starts a new combo. So what I do here is now I'm going straight and I get a speed oncoming that restarts the combo. So now when I hit this drift, now drifting is working again. Notice here it's drifting, it's giving me points and I'm good. I also got a few precision strikes on that. So that's important because if you find yourself not getting points or not getting enough points, it's because your combo is getting maxed out for drifting and you're not getting enough other things. So you need to be doing other things as well. All right, let's move on. I've talked a lot on this one. All right, the next event is with the Unicorn. It's event number 2 and I lied. I'm actually going to try to pronounce this because I think it's funny. Shita. All right, let's get into it, dude. This is just Legendary X rivalry, and you really don't have to try too much to get the 40,000. You really just need to be drifting every single corner. There's not a whole lot here, but there is one cut that I do recommend, and I do recommend a few resets, so let's get into those. All right, so after this turn here at 28%, you're gonna cut across the hill on the left. So just before the checkpoint flag, go left. It'll give you that checkpoint, get up over the hill, and reset when you get to that flag. Then when you get to this one down here, you can reset this flag as well. And then when you get to the next one, guess what? You can reset that one as well. And then on this one, you usually would reset this. I decided to go ahead and just reset it as well. On my other runs, I wasn't resetting that because I wanted to make sure I got my points. Anyways, those are the 3 at the top of the hill. So go up and over the hill, reset at the flag, then reset at the next 3 checkpoints. Everything after that is not going to be a reset. Now there is another cut across this grass up here. Let's see. Here at 69%, you're going to cut across this grass and go across the bridge. Then do the same thing on the other side of the bridge, cut across and use your NOS. I did it very poorly, but you want to get onto the road. Don't do that, what I just did. And that's basically it. Make sure you're using your NOS mid-turn. All right, the next event is called Mauna, Pele, Yama. This is event number 3. You're going to be using the Ultimaniac on this one as well. We'll let it play. This one is not super hard to get the 40,000 extra points, so you should just concentrate on getting to the finish in a reasonable amount of time. So once again, drifting is going to be how you get your parts, but I would recommend trying to go through all of these precision sections, and you can use the grind rails as well. But the grind rails do slow you down, and they don't really get you that many points. So if you go over them, it gets you about 50 points. So it's not the best, and there's lots of places on this course where you can actually get points. So let me see if there's any cuts. There is actually one that I'm thinking of at the end of this race. So let's fast forward to that. All right, there's actually one that I forgot about right here at 60%. You cut across this dirt. I would go around this jump here. And then the next cut is right after all of these tractors or bulldozers. It's this corner here. You're gonna try to stay on the left side when you exit this corner. I didn't do it very well, but I slowed down because I wanted to set myself up. Then cut right of the checkpoint flag and down the hill and get across this beach and around the wall on the right side. And that's it. You're pretty much home free. At this point, you should definitely have the full Gymkhana points. And yeah, there you go. All right, the next event number 4 is with the Lancer Evolution 6 GSR. I use the regular GSR. Again, you can use the Flow Edition if you have it. Doesn't really matter. You can use either one. This one, there really isn't anything tricky to talk about. I'm not even joking. You literally just have to race this and drift all the corners. I do think that drifting with a manual transmission is a little bit more controllable. You have the ability to downshift going into corners, and you know, you can really like control your speed that way so you don't just run into walls. See how I downshifted to third? And then I was able to take this corner without really slowing myself down on the wall too much. Same thing with this one, down into second. I think the control that manual offers is definitely beneficial in this summit. But, you know, everybody plays on a little bit different skill level. But like I said, there's nothing tricky about this. There's no shortcuts. There's no places where you're going to need to like remember how to do something, or it's literally just as fast as you can go while drifting these corners. Now notice that when I rode the wall, wasn't on purpose, but it also is still a fast way to take it. So, you know, feel free to do that. Anyways, let's move on. All right, next up is event number 5. This one is with the Evo 6 once again, and this is basically just Kyusha Spirit, but this one is called Kaneohe Jinja. I don't know if that's actually a thing. Anyways, you really don't have to worry about the Gymkhana score that much. If you're doing everything like I'm showing you in this clip, you're gonna get a decent score. You'll get your full Gymkhana score. This first one is going to be a drift turn. Make sure you're using your NOS as well. Then make sure you cut across the grass on the left here. Use your NOS again. Make sure you're getting back up to the score, or back up to top speed. Every time you do a drift corner, NOSing out of it. Now let's fast forward to a couple of the cuts. All right, so on this turn, you're gonna wanna drift into it, try to keep your drift, and just keep turning and cut across that grass. Then when you go across this bridge at 68%, you're gonna cut this flag to the left of it. I actually didn't do this very well. I can do this a little bit faster than I did, but I wanted to survive this run because the first part of it, I was going pretty fast. Anyways, you're gonna cut across. You wanna try to go to the left of this flag so you can set yourself up for the reset. Anyways, so go here and cut to the right after these trees, get to this flag and reset. Because I went into it very wild, I didn't reset it. I can definitely knock off even more time from this. I could probably get low 2s. I think this ended up being a 207. You could probably get it in the low 2s if I do everything right. Anyways, reset that flag. Don't do what I just did, because that's going to waste time. Everything else from here on out is literally just making sure you're drifting these corners and not wasting a bunch of time doing it. So even if you have wall taps, it's okay. You get NOS for drifting, and you get a little bit of a speed penalty for hitting the walls, but it's not too bad. What you don't want to do is go off the track into all these grass fields, because you'll never get out of it. Anyways, that is it for this one. All right, and the last event is called Kessen, I believe, or Kessen? I don't know. Anyways, this is using the Flow Edition, or not the Flow Edition, the Evo 6 GSR again. And I'm just going to take you through my second lap because Both laps are basically the same. It's pretty easy to get that full Gymkhana score of 40,000 points. And there's a couple of cuts that I think we should talk about. They're definitely important, and then potential resets if you want to go ahead and do those resets. All right, so the first cut is right here. You're going to go just left of this checkpoint, then over the grass and across. Now, I did this pretty slow because I was having trouble keeping the car controlled going across the dirt, but that's the best way to do that. Now, this one here is a drift corner cut, so go early, close to that building. I messed this up and ran into that. But if you don't do that, that's actually the fastest way to take the corner. I was so frustrated with this race that I just couldn't do it again. I grinded it for like almost an hour, and I just kept getting frustrated because I kept crashing on second lap. So I left that in my run, but I think I'm gonna go back and redo it before the summit is over. Now, this one here is a potential reset. You can reset right before that flag. Just remember, don't turn. You're going to be pointing the correct direction when you reset, so don't turn at all. Let's fast forward. All right, this checkpoint flag here, where you're going down the hairpins and you have these block walls here, you can reset this, and I think it will be faster, but it's kind of sketchy because there's rocks here, and the angle that your car is going at the checkpoint is kind of weird. So for me, I thought it was just a little bit more consistent, and I wouldn't have to restart. This is my second lap. I didn't want to mess it up. So for me, it was a little more consistent to just go ahead and drift this corner. And, you know, that was a decently clean drift. So there you go. Now, this one up here, you can do the same thing. You can go over here and reset it. I chose to just wall tap and just keep going. It's very similar amount of time to do either one of those if your reset is quick. You have like sort of an older console or something like that, the reset might take longer, so just do the wall tap. That's basically it. NOS to the finish, and you're good to go. All right, and lastly, let's take a look at the feats for this escape. I'll let the full thing play out, but just know on the slaloms, you need to have that score breaker set of parts with skilled and pure. If you do not have score breaker parts, if you just have purple parts, let's say, make sure that you re-affix those parts, recalibrate them so that you have a full skilled benefit. Make sure the affix has skilled on it. If you don't have skilled, you're going to be stuck getting a lot less points. So make sure you have those on the slaloms. And then for the second slalom, you're going to be going in the opposite direction. The first one is forward. All right, we'll let these play out, and I'll be back with my final scores. All right, here are the final scores. Thank you so much for watching. DM me with any questions you might have on this one. I know this is going to be sort of annoying for a lot of people, but you know, I ended up having fun in the end. There's a couple of events that really frustrated me, but besides that, I think I had a pretty good time. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this helps. I'll catch you on the next one. Trigger out.